As you can see, he has a lot of hair and his beard needs some work too, so let's get into it. So to begin, I am pre-sectioning his hair. I'm starting in the middle and then I'm going to divide it into 4 quadrants. I offer shampoo and blowout with every service, but he's always just kind of did his before he came in. But with being outside in the wind and all that, I decided let me go back in and just smooth it out a little bit more. So I divide it into 4 quadrants. I could work in a more organized way. Then I go in with a comb attachment and I'm just going over any part that I felt like needed to be smoothed out a little bit more. So it's hard to get like the root area, especially when you're doing it, yourself. Just because it's easier when someone else does it because they can fully see your head. When you're in a mirror, you can't see certain parts. So I just went over the root area a little bit and the ends to lay it more flat. And here I am going in again because we are starting this braid style with a middle part. And I always like to check it from the front too and make sure that it's, in the center of their head. And then you continue it to the back. I like to divide it into sections so that way it's less overwhelming and it's easier. And, just more like thorough throughout it. And then I'm going in with some gel just to clean the parts up a little bit more and using my comb to smooth it out into the hair. So when he comes in, he usually does like large box braids, but this time he wanted to switch it up. And he was like, I want to try something new. So when your client says that to you, you kind of have to ask like, all right, well, what don't you like so that I know I can avoid that? And what do you want to see so that I can incorporate more of that? So, he told me originally that he wanted everything kind of like going back from the front of his head. So I was like, okay. And I showed him some styles and then he was like, I don't really know. I don't really like that. And then I showed him one where it's like to the side of the head, but the braids don't go into the front. His main issue was like he didn't want any braids to like kind of like dangle over the front of his face. He wanted everything like kind of away from his face. So I was like, these braids are to the side, but I can style it in a way so that it's not like, going in the front of your face. So he was cool with it and he liked it. So we ended up doing that one. You're about to see it. So my first section, I kind of went like from the top of the head to like behind the ear. That's a little bit in front of the ear. Okay, a little bit in front of the ear. I would say like near the highest point of the ear. So I broke that down, sectioned that off, and then I did a middle part in between them, and then divided it in half, the other way. So then I braided the other 2 sections that I wasn't going to be working with right away to get them out of the way. I feel like that gives me a little bit more control and I'm not accidentally grabbing some hair from the side that I shouldn't. So here I am starting and like we're doing like a cornrow up here and then it's gonna feed into the other side, the bottom right. So on the top left and then it'll cross over to the bottom right. And then I would say like the hardest part of this part for me was like bringing it to the opposite side and making sure that it looks like seamless, like it makes sense, So, and also like the hairs in the front, it's like baby hairs, so it's a little bit shorter than the overall length. So trying to like incorporate that in was a little bit of a challenge for me, but I made it work. I told him some of this hair is like a little bit too short, so like I'm gonna try my best to incorporate it in, but I'm like doing what I can because like most guys get a shape up in the front that's like what the style that you see mostly nowadays. But some people do just have all the hair going into the style. So, that was his case. He had all the hair going into the style, no shape up in the front except for the beard. So that's what I did. I just tried my best to incorporate all the hairs that are in the front, into the braid style and like grip it, as tight as I can. So here I am in the top right, and then we will cross over to the bottom left. And again, for me, the most challenging part is that crossover in the center and making sure that, it's kind of like a seamless transition. But I do like the effect of having the braids cross over. I think it looks really cool. Yeah. So here I'm getting my next like big section on, I think that's the right side of the head. This is where I tend to overthink a lot, just because it's like, you want to make sure everything is balanced and as proportionate as you can get it, evenly proportionate, So I went in and I referenced like the picture that we agreed on. And then I was like, okay, well, this is about how wide the sections are, and this is like the landmarks. Like the first part was a little bit in front of the ear, like to the top of the ear, and then the second part goes like behind the ear. So the ear is my landmark. That's where I see like the parts kind of come together. So after you do the big section, you do a middle part right in the middle of that section. And then since I had the first big section done, I just continued the parts over. So that makes it easier. Honestly, I think the most difficult part is making sure that the first part is established and like balanced and proportionate. After that, you can use that as your guide for the rest of the sections. So I'm prepping his hair with some gel and I'm combing it in there. And then I start at the top right, and then I'll go to the bottom left, and then I'll just do the opposite on the opposite side. And as you can see, the braids per request, they're not going to go in the front of his face. They're going to stay on the side, which will be easier for like everyday activities like work and stuff. He won't really have to like pull it out of his face. So yeah, whatever is easier and more convenient, and whatever my client wants, I try to give to them. So now it's time to do the same thing but on the other side. So I'm starting with the top left and I will bring it to the bottom right. I will connect it to the bottom right. Braiding is actually the first thing I got into in like the cosmetology world. I started doing it when I was like young because like I went to camp and we had like silent time, like, and all the girls would like do each other's hair and stuff. So like I got my hair braided a couple times and I would always take it out and be like, oh wow, it's so wavy and like curly and it looks really cute. And when summer ends, like I want to be able to keep this up. So I figured out how to do it on my own, and like took a lot of trial and error because learning it on yourself is a lot harder than learning it on another person, in my opinion, because you can't see the back of your head to make sure the middle part is straight, unless if like you have a crazy mirror set up, and then like seeing it's consistent from the front to the back of your head. It's just a little bit harder when you're doing it on yourself. But I got good at it, and then I started doing all my sister's hair and my friends, and then I started to do updos too, and I was like, oh, you know what? I'm naturally like pretty good at this, and like if I'm not, then I just acquire that skill over time. I practice and practice and practice, and I'm a perfectionist, so like I'll just keep going until I get it right. Yeah. So that was what got me into hair originally, and then I went to cosmetology school, and I was a cosmetologist for like 4 or 5 years. But I was working at salons as a shampoo girl, and like I felt like I wasn't really going anywhere. So then I was like, you know what, I want to be a barber. Like, I'm fascinated by like fades, and I feel like that's the direction I want to go in. So I hit up my friend who's a barber, and I used to go to his shop and watch him cut all the time. That's how I learned how to do my cuts. And then I went to a shop as like a receptionist and did discounted haircuts. And then I was like, you know what, I just need to go to barber school. So I went to barber school, but like the transition from becoming a cosmetologist to a barber, I was like, I felt a little bit like discouraged when I realized like I wasn't as passionate about like working in salons and like doing like women's hair stuff. I felt kind of like, I spent all this time, I did all this, and I'm just not passionate anymore. And I'm like, I need passion or I'm not doing it. Like I need to be 1,000% like in. So then, then I switched to barbering, and it was like crazy. Like I just felt so into it. Like I'll be so hyped when I talked about it and stuff. And then here I am. It's been like 5 years as a barber now. Yeah, because I started in 2020. I went to barber school in 2019. I graduated in 2020, and then I went to a shop full time. And like, there's been many like trials and tribulations and like learning like as I go. So I feel good where I'm at now. Although my like finances aren't exactly where I want or need them to be yet, I feel like God works in mysterious ways. If you told me 10 years ago that I would switch to be a barber, I would laugh at you. I would not believe you, but that's just the way that things went. And I definitely feel like this is more of my purpose, because I feel like he called me on to switch. He called me on to do it. And I'm just always trying to like make sure that, my goals and stuff like that kind of align with his vision for me. And then I get confirmations from my clients too. Like when times get hard, I kind of freak out and I'm like, am I doing the right thing? Should I even be doing this? Should I get like a side job? Like what should I do? But then I have clients that look in the mirror after I do their hair and they just light up. They smile, their whole face lights up. They're glowing. And then like I've had like a couple clients last week tell me, oh, when I leave the chair, like I just feel so good about myself. Like I leave a completely different man. And then I'm like, okay, these are reminders that I'm on the right path and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And just making people feel good. That's the heart of what I do. Like some people get into it for other reasons, but I got into it because at the end of the day, I want to make people feel good. I want to make people feel confident, because when we tend to look good and do something like self-care, like a haircut, or get your nails done, or get a facial or your makeup done, you feel good. And when you feel good, you do good things. You have good energy. You help others. You're more willing to, like just put out better vibes and better energy into the world. And if I could be a part of that process, then I feel amazing. So yeah, that's why I do what I do, and I love what I do. I love to make people feel good about themselves and feel confident. So yeah, sometimes you just need reminders, and I got some last week, so I feel pretty good. And this is the finished look. He got his braids done, and then he got his beard taken down and lined up. So he came in, and he needed the work done, but he left, and everything is done, and his beard is done. So he's looking good, and he's feeling good. Alright, let me know what you guys want to see in the next video, and I look forward to putting out another video soon. Bye.